I think the big one though that I love is when I work with a client who has an aha moment where they say, oh my God, everything clicked, the best sales month we've had, or I finally understand this aspect of my
Right.
business, or something like that. If you're not comfortable selling, it's hard to get clients. And even when you do, and if you are good at sales, it's a grind. It takes a while to build up that client base.
Joining me today is Brian Weaver, and he is a business coach. So, Brian, welcome. Thank you for joining me today.
Thanks, Miranda. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So, let's go ahead and get started. Brian, can you explain to me what a business coach does?
Sure. A business coach, the way I typically describe it, we work on the 3 A's of business. And the first is awareness. A coach will kind of bring best practices to a business owner or an executive. What are the things that work? What are the things that don't? So they create
Okay.
awareness of what's out there. The
Right.
second is action. We always end meetings with an action of some sort. So many business owners come up short
Mm.
when it comes to actually taking action in their business. So we create
Okay.
activity. And then the third is accountability. If you think about a business owner, that they're they're at the top. Nobody holds them
Yeah.
accountable for
Yeah.
results except for themselves. Well, a coach helps hold them accountable for that.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
we really try to make it so that accountability is not a 4-letter word, and they accept accountability and
Yeah.
they need it and want it.
Yeah. And what made you want to get into this career path, and how did you kind of get your start in it?
So I spent a career, well, I'll say 2 careers.
Okay.
This is probably my third career now. A career as an officer in the Navy,
Oh,
and then a career in corporate America,
okay.
doing operations and
Mm.
sales, running businesses and things like that. And I decided I want to do something on my own as an entrepreneur.
Okay.
This aligned with the things that I really loved about what I did in the regular workforce.
Okay.
I liked working with my directors when they had issues. We could come up with solutions. I
Mm-hmm.
love that coaching aspect of it. So this allows
Okay.
me to do all the things I really like doing, and none of the crap. Sorry if I can't say that. None of the crap that I don't
You're
want to
good.
do. So
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to
Okay.
prepare for board meetings and do all the other things
Yeah.
like that. I just want to coach. So
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about why you love coaching. So, what parts of the job are the most exciting or the most interesting to you?
well, the first and foremost is I'm sitting here in La Jolla, California, and where it's 75 degrees and beautiful.
Yeah.
Even though I live in the Woodlands, Texas,
Okay.
but because because of the nature of my job, I can kind of do it from wherever I want. So I'm
Mm.
uh, pretty mobile. My wife's
Yeah.
traveling for work, so I came along with her and took a little vacation while coaching.
That's nice.
So that's kind of the obvious one. I think the big one though that I love is when I work with a client who has an aha moment where they
Hmm.
say, oh my God, everything clicked, and the best sales month we've had, or I finally understand this aspect of my
Right.
business, or something like that. Those are the things that I absolutely love. Had a call last Friday with a client who said, I got to tell you, he said it's lonely at the top. He's a business owner.
Mm.
And I didn't realize how lonely it was. And just this little conversation helps get my mind straight. I appreciate it. So
Yeah.
that's what I love
Okay.
about it.
Amazing. And now on the flip side, what parts of the job are harder, emotionally challenging, or maybe just plain out boring?
There's nothing that I would say is boring about it.
Okay.
Uh, the 2 things that are challenging, and this goes for the first one goes for any business.
Hmm.
Before you're a coach, you're a salesperson. You have to sell your services and you have to get
Yeah.
clients.
Yeah.
And if you're not comfortable selling, it's hard to get clients.
Yeah.
And even when you do, and if you are good at sales, it's a grind. It takes a while to build up that
Hmm.
client base. The other thing that's a challenge is think about if you own your own business or you work for a company,
Mhm.
you've got your own problems in your head. Well, I
Right.
have my own problems in my head, and I've got 10 clients who have all their problems in my head.
Yeah.
And detaching myself from that so that I don't go crazy is a little bit of a challenge at times. So I have my ways of doing it. I do it really well, I
Yeah.
think, but it's not an easy thing. You could let all of that eat at you,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
you can't do that. So
Yeah. And okay, so now kind of along those same lines, what do you think that is something that people might underestimate or overestimate about this job?
people are going to overestimate how easy it is just get some clients and call it a day and be ready to go.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great. And, they're gonna overestimate how much they're gonna earn in their first few years. I mean, this can be a good business. You can make money at it. You can make as much or as little as you want to, depending on
Okay.
how many clients you
Yeah.
want to bring in and how big you want to scale the business. I like one-on-one coaching more than I like
Okay.
large groups.
Okay.
I want to limit the number of clients I have so I can pay attention to them
Yeah.
and not worry about a lot of other things. So I'm not aiming for a 7-figure sort of
Right.
coaching practice or something like that. I want enough to, I'm 50 and looking at retirement in the future and just want to be comfortable and do something
Right.
I enjoy. So it's a little
Yeah.
bit different thing. Um, I would say also people underestimate the amount of just running a business type stuff you have to do in this. I mean, yeah,
Mhm.
you think, oh, I'm a business coach, great. There's still bookkeeping and taxes and marketing expenses and
Yeah.
IT stuff that you deal with, all the stuff that any business owner would ever sort of have to deal with. I have to deal with those
Yeah.
things. Now it's like that because I run payroll for one person, not for 20 people. I if I have HR problems, it's with myself, and that's a weird counseling session to have to yell at myself, but it's all right. We get through it.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I still have to run the business, and
Of course.
it does take time. But I found people that help me with that. One of the first things I did was hire a bookkeeper because I didn't want to deal with that. It takes away from selling and coaching. Um, I've got a little IT consultant thing that when I have a problem, I can just call them up and say,
Mhm.
something's wrong, please fix it. So a lot of those things are the way that I've gotten around or through some of those issues,
Yeah.
but I still have to run the business.
Yeah. And okay, so just now out of curiosity, so you are a business coach, you also run your own business. Do you ever see that it might be hard to take your own coaching? Does that make sense?
Yep, all the time.
Yeah.
Um, one of the things I'm doing while in San Diego here, because I'm treating it like it's middle of the year. I'm doing it with all my clients where I'm doing a review of goals. Like, where do you
Mhm.
stand? We set goals at the beginning of the year. Where are we on track right now? Are we behind? Are we ahead? Do we need to revise goals? Do we need to revise strategies? What's going on?
Yeah.
I had not done that with myself yet, mid-year.
Okay.
And I forced myself this week. All right, I'm going to be in San Diego. Let's take some time to do it. So I've spent a little
Yeah.
bit of time today. I'm spending a little bit of time tomorrow going through my goals. Where
Mhm.
do I stand? Looking at it hard with a cold eye a little bit and saying, all right, do I need to revise my strategy?
Yeah.
The answer to that is yes. I'm looking at some things like I may come short of my revenue goals for the year. So
Mhm.
what do I need to do more of in order to get there?
Right.
So,
Right.
and it's a
Okay.
hard conversation to have with yourself.
So earlier you mentioned that you like one-on-one coaching, but there's also group or team coaching. Are
Mhm,
there any other, I don't want to say niches, but just ways to specialize within business coaching?
mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
so my specialties, I kind of do two things mainly. I do one-on-one
Okay.
business coaching with business owners
Okay.
or one-on-one executive coaching. So
Okay.
leaders, emerging leaders, vice presidents at companies, because I have that background anyway. And a lot of what I talk about in this two contexts are similar,
Hmm.
just different challenges.
Yeah.
That's what I specialize in. But I've done group coaching before where I do
Okay.
like think smaller business owners who don't have as much to spend, but they still have needs. I will do that once, probably 2 or 3 times a year, about a 10-week program for people. Like I said, it's a grind because I have to fill that
Yeah.
class with 6, 7, 8 people.
Right.
That's 6, 7, or 8 sales engagements I have to make. And to get to that
Yeah.
many people, that I got to talk to 100 and some odd people.
Yeah.
So it takes time to get there. So that's one thing. I've done training where I go, and I still do this, where someone will say, hey, can you come and do workplace communications training or
Mhm.
sales training or something like that? And I will go in and run a sales workshop or a communications
Okay.
workshop or a leadership training or something like that. Those are ultimately for me to get in my foot in the door so I can do more one-on-one
Right.
coaching with somebody in the company.
Right.
But I know people that just do the training aspect of it.
Mm.
Um,
Okay.
and love it. They like doing one-to-many sort of group training like that and really enjoy that. And then a lot of coaches will niche down even into the types of clients. I'm pretty agnostic. Mine are kind of all over the
Okay.
place.
Okay.
But I know a lot of coaches who are out there that only work with like dental practices, which is kind of
Wow.
an interesting one.
Yeah.
And they get really good. Not that they have a dental background, but they got really good at working with dental practices and helping them
Mm.
grow. So that's what they specialize in.
Yeah.
Some work only with the trades. So, HVAC repair guys,
Mm.
plumbers, people, professions like that, because that's
Yeah.
where they've kind of built their brand and they they've become really good in that space.
Okay. And is it more common to see like more newer businesses wanting business coaching, or is there just a range?
It's a range.
Okay.
I've had everybody from, hey, I'm thinking about a business to I've been in business for 17 years and I'm
Mm.
stuck.
Okay.
I don't typically deal with the folks that are thinking about a business. I'll talk to
Okay.
them without charging and say, all right, have you thought
Yeah.
about this? Have you thought about that? But I don't want to bring them in as a client because they've got to figure out a lot of other stuff before they
Yeah. I
get
can
into
imagine. Yeah.
coaching. And I get the guys who are 2, 3 years into it they said, man, I thought this was going to be different. So we get a lot, let's talk about clarity.
Mm.
Why are you doing what you're doing? And
Yeah.
then how do we grow you and things like that. Then we get to take the swing to the guys that have been in business for 17 years or so.
Hmm.
And in some cases, they've been stuck and they've never, sales have fallen off. And all right, well, why did they fall off? Let's
Yeah.
understand what's happening, what's the activity going on, what's the market, or hey, I want to sell this in 5 years. How do I get the most
Mm.
value out of it? Okay, make sure we have the processes in place and the people and all the things
Hmm.
like that so the business has value.
Yeah.
So I see a pretty wide range of
Okay.
clients and potential clients there.
Okay. And before we hopped on here, I had to do a little bit of research on the average income for a business coach. Of course, this number is going to vary, but according to Google in the US, the average salary is about $98,000. So, from your experience, is that accurate? What do you think about that?
I would say it depends on where you are in your
Yeah,
journey.
yeah,
Um, in your first year, it's probably not going to be anything like that.
mm,
Second, third year, probably around there. And then after
okay,
that, I know guys who make 500,000 a year plus
wow,
doing this. So,
wow, okay,
um, but these are good coaches who bring a lot of value to their clients and their
yeah,
clients want to pay them to be a part of them.
right, right,
Um, just like any business in any industry, the cream rises and the best
hmm,
will make a lot of money at it.
yeah, of course,
So 98's, I, yeah, I mean, I could see where that would be an average probably, but
okay, yeah,
it's not long term. You should be able to do better than that at the
okay.
5 year mark for sure.
Noted. So, okay, so now what are some current trends or challenges in the industry, and how do you see it changing in the next 5 to 10 years?
Um, there's been obviously a lot of cost inflation in
Mm,
companies. And so as a coach, I'm an expense. People look at
Right.
me and say, all right, I need to cut costs somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Do I cut my coach or do I cut something else out? And I tell people all the time, if you're not getting a good return, let's cut this off right now.
Right.
I would be a bad business coach if I said, no, keep paying for something that's not yielding a return. So that's a challenge in a market like this where I'm competing from a cost basis with a lot of things, with a
Yeah.
lot of other rising costs out there. The other challenge, I'll say challenge, there's a lot of things on social media, YouTube, things like that, where, you know, $99.99, you'll get in this coaching program. Well, you're going to get a bunch of videos and you're going to get access to their library videos, and that's about it. So it's a model. And people,
Yeah.
honestly, if you're just getting started, it's probably not a bad way to learn some things about business, but you're never going to dive into your business specifically. So
Right.
there's always things like that people are going to be competing with.
Right.
The challenge for me, though, is staying on top of all of the different ways that clients can market, that they can use AI, that they can use all the other tools that are coming available. Because I don't want to be the dinosaur that's like, I don't know what to do with that. Good luck. I want to be the guy that they can turn to and say, all right, I've been told that AI is something I need to understand for my business. What do I need to know? So, all right, well, we need to most important, like for Chat GPT, for instance, if you're going to create a marketing message, we need to know the inputs that we need to put in there to get you the best message that you can then
Right.
tweak as a
Yeah.
business owner. People come to me and say, all right, I've been thinking about taking out Google ads or Facebook ads or this ad or that.
Mm-hmm.
What do we need to know? It's like, well, all right, before you do that, who's your demographic? Who are you trying to target? Is this the best way to spend your money? Because this is how those things work. And so I have to understand how those things work. And those algorithms change all the time. So I have to keep on top of that. So that's the biggest challenge for me, is not just to sit back, get fat, dumb, and lazy and not pay attention to current trends. I have to pay
Right.
attention to that stuff so I can help my
Yeah.
clients.
Yeah. And how do you stay up to date with all of those like trends and tools that are up and coming?
That's a good question. You ask really good questions. Good. You should do this as a podcast or something. Um, so the best way I do it is I talk to a lot of different people who are in those areas.
Yeah.
I have a lady that actually helps with my LinkedIn posts a little bit. Not a lot, but just keep stuff going out there.
Yeah.
So she kind of keeps me abreast of what's going on. I have people that I talk to within a networking group that are a lot more tuned in the Facebook side. So they tell me, hey, this is what Facebook's doing a little bit differently.
Yeah.
I don't do a lot of Facebook stuff because I do business to business typically. So it's
Okay.
not a great marketing place for me, but I have
Right.
clients that it's a great marketing place for. So I need to understand that.
Right.
And then I read and just follow what's going on.
Yeah.
I will never claim to be the expert in all those things, but I know enough to be dangerous
Yeah.
and can at least I can help my clients start asking questions to the people who are trying to sell them on things too.
Yeah. Okay. And okay, so now we're going to go into your daily work, your schedule. So, what's your schedule like, and what tasks do you spend the majority of your day doing?
So daily, I wake up at 5 a.m. and then I go stare into the sun for 15 minutes, like Andrew Huberman told me I have to do. And then I do a red light. No, I don't do any of that stuff.
I was like, okay.
No, I don't do any of that. I wake up, I don't know, 6:30 to 7, somewhere in there. I typically I go for a walk for a couple of miles. I will say I don't put on AirPods or anything like that. That's my
Okay.
reflective time where I go out and just think. I'm not looking to get the heart up into zone 2 or anything like that. I'm just, it's my way of getting the body moving and clearing the mind.
Right.
Do that for 30 to 45 minutes. Do some reading. So Like even today, I brought one of the books along that I'm in the middle of reading, do some reading and some journaling. And then by about 8 a.m., I'm sitting in front of my computer and I've got a period of 8 to 9 that is my period. That's my time to work on stuff that I need to work on. And I do that first and foremost by outlining what I'm going to, by the way, this is all sitting here because I did all that this morning. I've got a planner that I use that I outline what are the big 3 things I need to accomplish for the day that will get me towards my goals. And what does the rest of the day look like, and kind of outline it from there. And my day outward facing day starts around 9 a.m. So whether that's calling people in my champions network, so folks that I know that could be good referrals for me, calling them to do some sales stuff, or coaching somewhere in the, that's what I spend the rest of the day doing. My Mondays right now are my busiest because I have a lot of people that they want to get their week kicked off with a coaching call. So I've got like 5 clients on a Monday. I didn't design my business to be like that. I thought Mondays was going to be easing into the week. And it's not. I'm running. Wednesdays have kind of become my big networking day. I make it a point. I have a networking group I meet with every Wednesday afternoon. We're doing sometimes a Chamber of Commerce breakfast in the morning. There's coffees with people, lunches. It's just usually a full day of networking. By Friday afternoon, I've shut everything down though. And that's my time to do my weekly review. What did I get accomplished? What did I not get accomplished? What do I need to focus on for the next week? And then any of the business stuff, reviewing I've got something from the CPA that I got to review for my business taxes, for instance. That's my Friday afternoon. I do all that then. So, what did I not answer in there? I feel like I missed something. What takes up most of my time, I think, is what you said.
Yes. What takes up most of your time?
If I'm not actively coaching, what takes up most of my time is sales. And I say sales broadly, whether it's networking, calling people, coming up with a LinkedIn post to put out there, things like that. So that's probably what takes most of my time.
Okay. And as far as work hours, are you working from 9 to 5, or is it more flexible? Do you have some calls at night? What does that look like?
I will occasionally do a call at night. I don't do that very often because I have other things that I like to do. And I don't start before 9. I have a virtual assistant that she once tried to schedule me something at 8 and said, no, we will never do that. We won't do 8 o'clock. That's my time. Not that I'm up, but that's the time that I get my stuff done. So, but all in all, it's pretty flexible. That's one of the things I love about this is I can decide, you know what, I've got other things going on. I've got I don't know, want to go see one of my sons who are, I mean, they're college age, but want to go see them do something or go hang out with them. I'm not working. Now, if I've got client calls, I've got client calls. That's a different story, but I'll sacrifice some networking or selling time. And like if I want to come to San Diego and enjoy the cool weather.
That's fun. So you mentioned a bit ago that Mondays were kind of the busiest day of the week, but as far as seasons or months throughout the year, do you see that there are any busy times?
Yeah, so the January I find is typically one of those times when I'll bring on a new group of clients. Folks are thinking about their New Year's resolutions. I try to remind them, no, we're making goals, we're not making resolutions. But they're looking at their business and saying, man, I did not accomplish what I wanted to last year. I need help. So that can get pretty busy for me is January. Right now I'm kind of in a lull period because just trying to get, everyone's doing vacations and everything else. Throw in the fact that, you get a 4th of July holiday followed by a hurricane with power outages. If you're, at least you're from the Houston area, you're not doing any sort of sales or networking activities without
Yeah.
power and internet. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, this is typically a little bit of a lull.
Okay.
Probably pick up a little bit again in the fourth quarter as people start to think about their following year, and then that first quarter gets a little bit busy.
Okay. Okay, so now as far as the knowledge required to be a business coach, are there certain degrees or certifications that you need, or what type of experience do you need to become a business coach?
You need enough experience that it has some gravitas with the people that you talk to.
Okay.
If you're 25 years old and you know, graduated from college 2 years ago and you worked as a junior analyst somewhere,
Mhm.
most people aren't going to want to hire you as a business coach. They want somebody that's been there and seen some
Yeah.
things. Now, I'm not saying
Yeah.
that young people can't be business coaches. I don't mean that, but
Right.
most business owners especially want somebody that's got some experience themselves.
Seasoned. Yeah.
We've got bruises, we've got scars to show for it.
Yeah.
A little bit of gray in the beard helps for sure. I had to put this in here just to look smart. That's what I did. I don't think there's any degrees that are better than others or even necessary. One of the most
Okay.
successful coaches that I know has no degree.
Oh,
His monthly revenue is over $30,000 a month, and he doesn't have a degree. So, and he
wow.
does a great job, and people love him.
Yeah.
But he's probably in his 60s now, but he's run businesses when
Okay.
he was younger. He did a lot of things, and uh, what he learned in life is more valuable than anything else.
Yeah.
Um, for me, I've got an undergraduate in engineering. I wouldn't say
Hmm.
that's what people look for in a business coach. I've got an MBA. It helps probably a little
Okay.
bit, at least with some people. But I've talked to plenty of folks that have brought on as clients. They have no idea what my education background is.
Yeah.
So from the education side, I would say it's not that important. From the
Okay.
experience side, I would say the more experience you have doing things and failing, the better.
Hmm.
Because if you've never failed, you didn't really try that hard, I think. And I learned more from my own failures than I did anything else. So
Yeah.
that that helps when I can say, oh yeah, I've screwed that up before. This is what I
Yeah.
learned from it. Now, what can you learn from it?
Right.
Uh, there are certifications out there. I have a I'll say certifications, coaching certifications or Focal Point. Focal
Okay.
Point is a franchise system. That's what I
Okay.
have. It's similar to Action Coach or
Mhm.
some of the others. There's actually an international certification you can get for coaching, for executive coaching specifically,
Okay.
that if you're going to go do this on the government side or maybe some larger, really big companies, they want to see that certification. It's not necessary. It
Okay.
costs money, not hugely expensive, but it costs a lot of time. I can't remember how many thousands of hours of coaching you have to do after the training in order to get
Mm.
your certification,
Okay.
but it was more than I wanted to dedicate, and I didn't see the value at it.
Okay.
So
Okay. So what are some strengths or talents that you think would make someone a good business coach?
the ability to ask good questions and listen to the answers. I struggle with that sometimes. I can ask good questions, but I can then sit there and formulate responses, their responses while they're talking, instead of
Mhm.
shutting up and just really listening and digesting what they're saying.
Right.
That's common across everybody, but if you can learn that talent early, that's one of the best things to do. That's probably the number one thing.
Okay.
I won't I won't make it any harder than that. Learn that skill. There you go.
Okay. And now as a business coach, what do you end up thinking about all day? Like what topics or ideas? That makes sense.
Sometimes it's what I'm going to do for dinner that night, but
Okay.
I'm not a complicated person. No, honestly, it's a sales question that I asked myself. That's when I walked today, what was on my mind was, okay, I've had a client drop off. It was a natural just attrition. It was a
Mhm.
12-week engagement. Had a client
Okay.
drop off. What are the things that I'm going to do to replace that revenue? What are the things I'm going to do to increase revenue? All right, I didn't land this client. What are the next things I have to do?
Right.
That's what probably occupies my mind more than anything else.
Okay.
Um, it, sometimes there are days when I have a client that has said, "Hey, I've got this issue and I want to talk about it when we get a chance."
Mhm.
That now is in my head and I'm mulling it about. What I have to learn at that point though is not to dwell on their problems. I don't need to make
Right.
all their problems my problems because like I said, there's one in me and I got 10 clients. I don't want to,
Yeah.
I can't absorb all everyone's issues all the time,
Yeah.
but I can at least come up with good ideas and good questions to help them get through
Yeah.
the issue. And that'll
Yeah.
take up time.
Okay. So now we talked about your agenda and those resources that you use, but what are some other tools or technologies that you use a lot on a daily basis for business coaching?
Um, I one of the things I use, I'm a big fan of HubSpot. We have a one
Mm.
specifically for Focal Point this we call
Okay.
FP Hub. I think it's a great CRM, but whether you use that or Salesforce or any other sort of Microsoft
Hmm.
Dynamics, having a good CRM system is important because trying to keep track of potential business deals on a back of a napkin is not doable.
Yeah.
Or even in a spreadsheet, it gets clunky. You got to have a good CRM system. That's probably the extent of a lot of my technology that I use.
Yeah.
I live in Zoom, so that helps.
Hmm.
Um, Other than that, I don't rely on a lot of technology except for, I
That's
mean, the
amazing.
basics.
Yeah.
I say I don't, okay, if I was, when I was a kid, this would all be magic right now,
Right.
what we're dealing with here. But I mean, the phone, I've got some apps there that help me be a little bit more productive, like a mileage tracker, so
Okay.
that I can track my mileage from a business standpoint.
Okay.
When I added that, that took off, I saved myself an hour a month of
Wow.
trying to figure out all my mileage.
Wow.
And all I do is swipe right and left, whether it was business or personal, as I'm going along, and I can then pay myself
Yeah.
my, so it's great. Um, yeah, that's it. I don't,
Okay.
the great thing about this is not a technology intensive business where I have to have
Hmm.
too much stuff.
Right. That's why it's easy to pack up and go to California.
It is. You're exactly right. I got a laptop and a phone. I'm good.
And
So
that's it. Yeah. Okay, so now we want to give our listeners a little bit of advice. So, what do you recommend that candidates that are interested in becoming business coaches do to set themselves apart from others?
I won't say I have regrets because I have very few regrets, but one
Hmm.
of the things that would have been helpful to me, I think, was to go back 10 years in time before I went into coaching and just start up some other business.
Okay.
Uh, and the reason I say that is just to learn all of that stuff yourself while you're not trying to coach other people. So even
Mm,
if you're going to start up some sort of, I'm trying to think of what a younger person even could do, but just find something to start. Understand that this is an entrepreneurial job. You have to think in
yeah.
terms of an entrepreneur. You're going to be working with entrepreneurs. You need to understand that mindset. And the more that you can do, fail, learn, the more that you can help other people.
Hmm. Yeah. And if someone has a non-traditional background, what is the fastest way that they can get their foot in the door?
I would say the franchise model,
Okay.
because one of the great things there, and the reason I did it, honestly, even though I've got pretty traditional background, I mean, I
Hmm.
got an engineering degree from the Naval Academy and an MBA from Texas A&M.
Mm,
That's pretty traditional.
yeah.
And I worked for corporate America as a
Hmm.
W-2 employee and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I went with the franchise model because I knew there's stuff I don't know. And I
Right.
have 200 coaches that I can call and say, "Hey, I've got a client with
Mm.
an issue. Have you ever seen this?"
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I've got curriculum that I can pass to the client. Say, "Hey, I want you to go through this
Okay.
module and do these exercises."
Yeah.
that's the easiest way to go. Now it's a more expensive way to go than starting up,
Okay.
but you're going to have to either put time in it to develop all that or
Hmm.
money in it,
Or both.
or both.
Yeah.
So if you got a non-traditional background, that may be the way to go. The other thing I would say too is if you have a non-traditional background, lean into that background.
Okay.
Let's say you've come from the brewing industry and as a working for a beer brewer. All
Mhm.
right, really focus in on that niche of
Yeah.
distilleries and breweries out there and become a
Yeah.
coach to that industry. Not how they do operations, but how they run the business.
Right.
Because if you really focus on their operations side and get into all that, you really become more of a consultant than a coach. And
Okay.
there
Okay.
is a difference there.
Okay. Perfect. And now could you share some of the books or resources that you would recommend?
Yeah, there's a lot. So the E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber,
Okay.
one of the great books for entrepreneurs. It's why most businesses fail.
Okay.
Pretty much any coach out there has read that, and most small business owners. Um, Not this book yet. I can't recommend it because I just started it this week. But this author, Ryan Holiday,
Okay.
wrote a book called Discipline is Destiny. It was the first book in this series of the four Stoic virtues. Understanding how to be disciplined, and that
Mhm.
discipline is not a four-letter word either, and it's a good thing, and how it gives you freedom to be disciplined. That is that book I probably recommend to my clients and friends more than anything. I actually keep a stash of them at my house so I can give them to people.
Okay.
Uh,
Cool.
I don't want to overwhelm you with, I mean, I read a lot of different books, but those two alone, I just throw out the E-Myth because everybody's read it that's been in business. You kind of have to so that you can understand what people are talking about. But
Yeah.
discipline is destiny, because the thing that most business owners lack is discipline.
Okay. Perfect. And finally, now if you could talk to your younger self when you were just starting off with your career, what advice would you give
Take more risks. I was
him?
very risk averse.
Okay.
I left the Navy after 9 years as an officer,
Wow.
the 13 years in total between school and there.
Hmm.
Had a wife, had two kids. Still have a wife and two kids, but everyone's taller now. Um, I I would say I was probably a little bit institutionalized. I came into corporate America
Okay.
thinking I need a salary, I need medical insurance, I need matching 401k, all that stuff.
Right.
Had I taken more risk at that point, I would have grown more
Okay.
younger. Now, I
Okay.
picked up a lot of knowledge. I learned a
Mhm.
lot during that time, so it wasn't wasted, but I would say take more risks.
Okay. And do you think that you would still be here today had you had taken more risks? Like, do you think it would have led to the same outcome?
Good question. I don't know. I may have found myself doing something completely different,
Right.
having taken those risks at an earlier age. Some of the things that led me here and helped me in my career, frankly, is the fact that I was vice president at a company with a $50
Yeah.
million P&L. It's
Yeah.
when you have those conversations with people
Mhm.
about the magnitude of what you've managed, and yeah,
Mhm.
I ran a sales team of 20. I've had 200 people under me. That that helps in that discussion with a client, where
Right.
I'm trying to take my business from 4 million to 16 million, and I don't know how to scale it. All right, well, I can talk about that. I know how to scale business.
Yeah.
I may not have had that same background had I taken more risk. I'd just be doing something
Yeah.
different.
Yeah. That's why I asked, because the whole experience would have led to this. But
Oh yeah.
okay, so now where can people reach out to you, or where can they follow along with your work?
So best place to reach me and find me is on LinkedIn, actually.
Okay.
Like I said, I spend more of my time there than say Instagram or Facebook, but I also have email at bweaver@focalpointcoaching.com. I've got my website, which is brianweaver.focalpointcoaching.com. So
Okay.
I had to think
Perfect.
about that. those are the easy ways, and my phone number and email and all that's in all those spots too.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, Brian, thank you so much again for joining me on today's episode and for teaching us a little bit about business coaching.
Thank you, Miranda. You did a great job with this.
You just got one episode closer to learning about the world of jobs out there. To explore the rest of our career categories and find your best fit, go to jobdictionary.com to sign up for the beta users waitlist. Then subscribe here to find the next episodes coming out this week. And as always, drop us a comment, review, or message to let us know how we can better attune our episodes to your specific needs. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, X, Threads, Pinterest, and wherever else you're on socials to go get our short, snappy preview reels that expose you to new job options every day. Because here at Job Dictionary, we believe your big aha moment can be just one scroll away. Go check it out and get out there. Cheers!